Thanks for coming back. This is the greatest podcast ever made, if I may say so myself. I figure if I say it twice, people will actually get it. Remember, this is your Susu moment. Tell your 50 friends to tell their 50 friends, and then we'll have our own personal thing. That is Reggie. Say hi, Reggie.
Hi, Reggie.
And we have a guest today, and she can talk anytime she wants to. But first of all, let me just say, people call her Letitia. I guess that's what her mama named her. Other people call her Tisha. I've referred to her as Ronnie.
So like I said, I forgot her name until you actually said it. I just known her for Ronnie for like 30 years.
I know, right? I know, right? And for the purposes of this episode today, we will refer to her as
Ronnie.
We're actually going to refer to her as woman.
Okay.
Ronnie just falls off the tongue. I just forgot all about it. So
30 years. Boy.
So say hi, woman.
What's up? How y'all doing?
Okay, so a couple of things I want to mention because we always start these things by mentioning things that are irrelevant but entertain me. First thing is, and this is one that's actually serious, and it's funny that me and Reggie were having this conversation before we started recording. Today is my mother's birthday.
Oh shit.
So I want to extend the greatest birthday to my mother, even though we have had our issues. We don't get along as well as we would like, neither one of us probably, but that does not mean that there is not legitimate love and respect and all of that stuff. And even though we're not getting along, just know if there's a problem and somebody needs to go up to Gastonia, I will be there, and Reggie will meet me down there.
I'd be there already with the knives and the guns.
Yep. So that's the first thing, and that's the most important thing. Other things that are interesting, and the reason this one is interesting is because me and Reggie had a conversation about this. We had several conversations about this. Reggie, remember when we were like bigging up Larry King? We were talking about him being married like 8 times.
Yeah.
With his old ass.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously he is dead. And what is funny is part of that whole thing and being married 8 times is you go through 7 divorces. But little did we find out was that he was going through an 8th divorce when he died.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So because he is not new to the game and he knows how this thing works, when they decided that they were going to get a divorce, he went and changed his will to exclude her.
Oh.
Now, here's where it gets tricky. The divorce hadn't gone through. So, of course, after he dies, the wife is like, hold up, we really weren't getting a divorce.
Of course not.
We were just talking, and I deserve some of that money.
Yes.
And whatever this correction or whatever he did to this will thing, it's not valid.
He didn't mean it.
Right. They were really in love, despite everything else that was going to be said. Now, also, all right, let's go around.
Did she get the money?
Well, that's the whole thing. They're still going through that now because of course his kids are like, fuck that.
Of course.
The kids are always gonna come in there with that.
Yeah, the kids are like, shoot, whatever, shoot. You were at the curb. You were at the curb. So, all right. Let's play a game right here. Woman, you first. Take a guess at how much Larry King was worth when he died.
I would say about 75 million.
Okay, that's a fair guess. Reginald, what would you say his net worth was when he passed?
I'm in the 200s because that MF was on the air forever.
Right. This mother blanker's net worth was $2 million.
What?
What?
What did he do with it?
Shoot,
charity?
All those ex-wives. That's right.
Wives.
Shoot, boy, I tell you what.
$2 billion, man. Oh.
And women, close your ears for this. Reggie, that's why he died. Those women sucked the life out of him.
Put it out there to get sucked out of him.
Man.
Yeah.
I guess there's that. All right. So that was
But hold on, let's back this up. $2 million.
$2 million.
2 whole million.
I'm like, because I read an article about it, and I'm like, yo, where's the other zero?
Yeah, exactly. Something.
Yeah, and not after the decimal point.
Around the ring fingers of those chicks.
Dude, that man was living paycheck to paycheck. Like me.
Pretty much. But that might explain a lot, because I tell you what, I've come home several nights after a night of doing things. And while I'm sitting up and watching the TV, I routinely see these infomercials, and I've always wondered, what in the hell is Larry King doing promoting this?
We know why.
Like doggone lights on a regular.
Ponzi schemes and stuff like that. It's like, I'll be darned. But that's neither here nor there.
Mhm.
Another thing I want to mention too. I'm sorry to get off the rails. We'll get on topic one day.
Mm.
The other thing I want to mention is y'all familiar with Exhibit, the rapper, Pimp My
Yeah,
Ride?
yeah.
Okay. Forget his skills. Even though I thought he was.
I was pretty decent.
Yeah. I wasn't really into all that California stuff.
Well, because you love that mumble rap.
Here we go.
That's a whole nother.
I love it. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Basically, a couple podcasts ago, whenever that mess came out, Reggie like got into his old man mode and started bitching about.
Dude, it's not old man. If you can't hear the MLs, what the hell you know? No.
You sounded just like your dad. It's like that mess ain't real music. That mess ain't. And I'm like,
I like the beats.
I'm like, Reggie, they said the same stuff about the stuff we were listening to. No, that was different. It's like everybody says it's different.
No, you can understand. Up until recent, you can understand what the hell they were saying.
Reggie, pull your pants down. Your waistband is like right by your chest.
At least back in the day, you can, you may not knew the lyrics, but you can look the lyrics up on the internet and say, well, I messed up this lyric. And you can't, these guys just, they just write scribble.
Reggie, you wearing hush puppies, aren't you?
Yep, I am.
Okay.
I be that, like Redman said.
Oh,
who you can understand.
Yeah,
but anyway, going back to Exhibit.
But the thing about Exhibit, another thing, since we're on the divorce theme, which is going to tie into what we're talking about today. Exhibit was with his woman, and this is another thing that Reggie brought up whenever. Exhibit was with his wife for 20 years.
Wow.
They finally got married, and then they got divorced in 6.
Come on.
So it's like, if your marriage is shorter than the relationship, that's a bad sign. And the point that Reggie was making was that we had this conversation about how people date, and then once you get married, what changes.
Yeah.
And so, so that's that. So that ties into what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
Between the three of us, we represent like all of the different sides of the relationship spectrum. Reggie's married. I am single forever until I get married. And woman here is divorced. Mm-hmm. She is unique in a couple of aspects. One, because she is I thought she was the first divorcee, but actually she's not. Nicole was divorced, but that was so long ago.
Nicole was married?
Exactly.
I didn't know that either.
Exactly.
Wow.
And she's been back in the game for so long, we tend to forget that. But but woman here today is relatively recently divorced. And so we're going to talk about that because that is of interest to me. And that's really what matters here. And how it helps me in dating. Oh. And so that's the one thing. The second thing that makes her unique and makes this kind of funny to me and a little awkward is she is divorced from my bestest friend in the whole wide world.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
What'd you say, Reggie?
Said pretty much.
So, judging by the fact that she's here talking to us today, that must mean that they're at least cordial.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're cordial.
Okay.
I gotta throw this out there because I said I was gonna do it.
What's that, Reggie?
You could have lived in DC.
What?
I could have lived in DC. What's going on? Oh, Jesus. There's a couple of unique situations going on amongst us three people here. Yeah.
I'm not touching that.
I'm just saying.
I'm not touching that. What else say, Reggie? I used to have a crush on her sister.
I was wondering if I remembered that correctly. I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of people have a crush.
I did too. Once you rejected me.
Okay. You're going through the fam, ain't you?
Man, we gotta get it out now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But the thing also about women that's interesting to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we met in Miss Fason's accounting class.
Absolutely. In fact, you and I knew each other before I met your best friend.
Mm-hmm. And what was really interesting and nice about woman here is that we literally sat with our desks facing each other. So we literally looked at each other every day.
When I came in the door. There he was.
Yep. When I transferred into the school. And the thing that I remember about woman is that she was so incredibly nice to me at a time when I needed someone to be nice to me. That was not the best time in my life, but that is a story for never. Okay. So you want to get into
Damn,
that?
I wish I would have known you needed someone to be nice to you.
Oh my goodness.
Really now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Oh, there's so much hate.
I know.
It really hitting hard. Let it out.
Which goes back to the talking versus texting episode where Reggie was like, "I didn't know you had feelings." Yeah, not that I'm bitter about that, but yeah. So needless to say, we all met in high school. The thing about it is, woman here, we have known woman. Shoot, I've known her longer than any of my friends that I currently have today.
Wow.
Like Reggie and your ex. Anyway, another reason we're having a woman on the show is this is the reason, but one thing I want to mention too is that she's developing her own podcast. She's going to partner with us and be part of our network. The show is called What Divides Us, and I will not give any information about the concept because we don't want any of you creeps to try to steal it.
As you will.
Right.
Yeah, vultures.
It's more creative than just two random dudes talking about dating failures and stuff like that. So this is actually creative and something that will be interesting to listen to and watch.
Oh, you guys are awesome. Don't put yourself like that.
So I get to put on the other side of myself, outside of the bitter old man one. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. So nobody said you're going to be on it. I just said that she's part.
I'm Bogart now. I got to be special guest.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Okay.
Yeah. Which means no.
No, exactly. You do. This means no.
But when it actually comes out and gets rolling, she's going to be back on to talk about it, and we're going to promote it and all that stuff. And you all are going to blow that up and tell 40 friends to tell 40 friends, because we can't have it as great as this one.
Exactly.
But 40 for 40 gets her a long way. Okay. Now, all that stuff out of the way. Okay, I'm meeting more and more women today, and that's part of the reason that women's on the show. Obviously, in my dating life, I'm meeting more and more women who have been married, and it's interesting because they talk about how a lot of Black women, and Black people in general, don't get married anymore. But it seems like every woman that has been married, I'm meeting, and I'm meeting them at various stages, because you never really know what you're going to get. It's like Forrest Gump's box of chocolates, because you meet one woman who is still bitter toward her ex-husband and can't get past it, and then it's like, but no one ever admits it. And then you meet another one who acts like their husband never even existed. I appreciate that. And then you have this strange hybrid of divorcee who was married. Well, they're divorced. Obviously, they were married, but they were married and they got divorced, and they got divorced for legitimate reasons, according to them. But they still speak of their husbands with this kind of reverence.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Well, it makes you wonder, like, why aren't you with them? It's like, to the point. It's like somebody talking about an ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend or something like that. It's like, okay, why exactly are you talking about him so much? And then they'll say, well, we spent all this time together, we share a child together and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's cool. But speaking about him, like, yeah, he beat me, but the thing about it is I always felt safe around him. It's like, okay, I don't need to hear all of that.
I don't know how you went that far, but okay. But I don't need to hear that either, but I get that.
No, and I wanted to bring up something that was like really out there.
Yeah.
That's really out there.
Okay, like, she should have left him, and you would think that there wouldn't be that level of respect there, but there obviously is that respect.
Did you actually have that?
Someone who's been beaten
and said that they were safe with them?
No.
Okay.
That is an exaggeration.
Well, I was going to say, wow.
Exaggeration. That would be kind of weird.
Kind of?
Okay, be weird.
Okay.
I feel judged. Anyway, so let's start with these questions to help me understand. And also in the process, let's see if we can see where you are and see how we can make your life better.
Oh, hello.
Divorced woman. So, woman, how long were you married?
I was married for 18 years. Well, almost 19.
Damn, that long? Wow.
That's a grip.
Okay.
That's a grip.
Hold up, Mike, before you get too deep.
Yeah.
Because it seems to be that 18, it's between that 15 and 20 mark where it's okay. First, you got to get past the 70 itch, apparently, right? And then it's like coasting. But then around that 15, 16, 17, 20th year, it seemed like a lot of people just like fucking them out.
Just out of curiosity, Reggie, what year are you on?
I'm only on 13.
Okay.
We know each other for 20.
Okay. So we'll check back in a couple of years.
Oh no, I'm already putting her on notice. That's why I did that $5 million. I don't want to be like Larry King.
Right. But I will say though, what makes it curious is that I am meeting quite a few women who have either gotten to that 20-year mark or who have crossed that 20-year mark.
Okay.
So, which leads me to the next question, which I don't see here. But my next question as a follow-up is, with these women that I talk to, they always speak about when the marriage started to break down. And it's like, well, I knew that it was over after year 8, but I stayed for another 10 years. And it's like, okay, without getting into too much detail, because like I said, that's my best friend. And
he does listen.
Oh, shoot. Like I would do it if he didn't listen.
No, my thing is this. He does listen, so we're going to hear about it. Well, you're going to hear about it.
Anyway. Okay. So it's like, was it that kind of situation? Was it like one of those deals where you just saw a deterioration and things went left? Or was it just like, boom, this is done?
Well, inside the marriage, I did not see that because I was kind of coasting. I was just doing what I needed to do to get by and had my head on, I guess that work hat, if you would say, holding it down while he's on the road driving, working and what have you. So when it did hit the way it did, it was a shocker to me. It was, like a boom. Oh my God, what the hell is happening here? And yeah. So
okay. So another part of the reason I asked that question is because when I talk to women who have been divorced and they talk about how they saw the deterioration, it also kind of opened their eyes to the possibility of being back out here in the game, which I refer to the dating world. So basically, I'm imagining, based on what you said, that you hadn't even given any real thought to dating and what it would be like out here in these streets.
Because if you are in a marriage and you know it's going downhill, you already see it coming, right? So you already had your head in a space of thinking about what it's going to be like when you're free.
At the life, yeah.
So
at the party, yeah.
Right. So you're almost halfway out the door.
Right.
But when you haven't thought that way at all, and your clock starts when, all right, we're at a situation where now I can't pretend, or my eyes have been open, but bam, this is it. This is over. Yeah, you're not thinking in the limelight of what it's going to be like to be a single woman again.
Okay. You know what it reminds me of? I'm not going to ask Reggie because Reggie doesn't watch movies. The last movie Reggie saw was Uptown Saturday Night. But did you see the movie American Gangster with Denzel and Russell Crowe? Talking to two people.
I know.
Okay.
I don't get
so
TV like that.
For other people that hadn't seen the movie, it's with Denzel Washington and Russell Crowe. And basically, Denzel Washington plays a drug dealer, Frank Lucas, and he winds up going to jail for a long period of time. And then when he gets out of jail, it's funny. It's like the closing scene of the movie. It's like he's out on the street with his possessions, and he's just looking around, and like Public Enemy is playing, and he's just like, "What happened to the world?
What happened?"
Yeah.
Since I got locked up. Yeah. So
similar. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's okay. So interesting stuff. At least it is to me. So my next thing is you guys met in high school, obviously. So you all dated through that period. I remember going off to college, and when I came back, you all were living together. And so normally I would wonder how the game had changed before you got married and after, but you never really had a before, because before him, you were like basically dating kids, which doesn't really count.
Right. So my dating life never really existed as an adult. You know, um, I like I said, married for 18 years. I dated him for I think it was 2 years prior to that. So yeah, any dating that I was doing before then was like college, on that college level.
That don't count.
So
Yeah.
dating now is like what the hell? What do I do? How do I move? Whatever. Yeah, it's a different thing.
Hey Reggie, did you date in
Mhm.
college?
Nah.
I was about to say, who really dated in
Exactly.
college?
You just got with somebody.
So we had a podcast about that because you remember you told me what dating was. I was like, no, I never dated.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you
Yeah.
got married right out of anyway.
No, I didn't. I was just like not dating.
Well, also there's the fact that Reggie like went to 17 college and it took him 48 years to actually graduate. So it's like technically, if you want to say he got married out of college, you could be right, and he still be old as hell. But that's neither here nor there. So while you were married, let me ask you this: what were your impressions of the single life? Because your sister was single, I was single. You be around when we be talking our bullshit about what was going on out here in these streets. Was it one of those deals where it was like, oh wow, that's whack, sucks for y'all, or was it like, sounds kind of okay?
Mm-mm. I think I was glad to be married. I guess I don't know if it's a personality thing or if it's just a person to person or what have you. But I liked being in a relationship. I liked being in a marriage, and I still do.
Why?
But so when I would hear stories about what was going on during a date or a situation, I'm like, ew, yeah, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. But now I'm like, ooh, I'm one of those.
So why did you like being in relationships?
Well, being in relationships or being married?
Married, both. Marriage is just the ultimate relationship. Duh.
Well, you know what? To be honest with you, back then, I couldn't really have given you an answer. Now, I can tell you that being in a relationship, you have that person that you're close with. You have a person that you can grow with. So there's several things, and being, I guess, as an adult and saying being married takes on a different tone because you have things that you're walking individually in. Where when I got married, I was what were we, 22?
Yeah, I think so.
Working,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So we're still kind of kids, Plus there
Yeah.
was a lot of other outside external things, happening that, to be honest with you, had I had my head on straight, I probably wouldn't have gotten married, to be just totally frank.
Yeah.
But at that time in my life, he was, and let me preface this by saying that I don't regret marrying who I married, but um, because he was there for me and at a time that I needed, someone, and that
He sat across from you in accounting class too.
oh, I appreciate you too, sir.
I'm sorry. Continue.
But it's not a reason to get married. You see what I mean?
Ah,
It's not a reason
boy.
to get married. I mean, just to be blunt with it. And a lot of people get married for, oh my God, he or she has been there through the hard times, da 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 da. But if you really sat down and think about what has to go into a marriage, and how would you at 22?
Yeah.
So
The reason I asked that question because I asked my wife this recently. It wasn't about the marriage part. It's about why do you get in relationships? Why do people get in relationships? And they give me all these answers. Oh, I was lonely and this and this. And I look at them because Michael sometimes says that, dude, you just need to get your head out the clouds. I look at them and say, only reason I get in a relationship because I actually like you. That's it. I like you, and I want to see if I can like you even more. All this other stuff, I don't get. Like you said, and the reason I brought that up is like people get in because they were there during the hard times, or it's like, no, I just freaking like you.
Yeah. It should only be really about you and that person, right?
Yeah.
I think
I would have been in a relationship with Mike if I didn't like his big head self.
I don't know how to take that. So But one of the things that's interesting that you said, if you had known certain things, you wouldn't have done it. I don't think anybody should be married at 22 years old. That's just a personal thing for me. Can you imagine your kid? Can you imagine your kid get married?
Neither one of them.
Well, of course not the one.
Well, I mean, when she were to 22 or what have you, when getting older. No.
And actually, since you brought it up,
I know, right?
actually, since you brought it up with your mom's birthday, I think we said it offline. So let's bring that in. Your mom got married at what age, Michael?
Well, she got married at 17 because she was pregnant with my brother.
Okay. My mom got married at 20.
And my mom got married at 16.
So, okay, we pretty much running. It's like, we don't know how, well, I know my mom, speaking for my mom, she got divorced twice, 3 times, some shit like that. Some Elizabeth Taylor shit.
So it was like 2 in the possible.
Play spades. I got 2 in the possible.
One was like common law. The male was coming, he never jumped the broom.
Wow.
But yeah, I just want to add on that point about getting married at least before 25. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how they did it, but apparently they didn't do it well because my mom's got divorced 3 times. Mm-hmm. So it's just to add to your point, 22, 23, you don't know what the hell, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever like, I'm a product of divorce as well. Mm-hmm. And they lasted for all of like maybe 4 years after I got me. So that might be like 7 years altogether. Mm-hmm. And even during the course of those 7 years, it still wasn't like good times or anything like mm-hmm. that. They shouldn't never got married. And they are so different. And that's the problem with people when they're young. Mm-hmm. You never know in what direction they're going to grow. My mother is like the ultimate Rolling Stone. My mother is not built for long-term commitment. Tell y'all a story real quick.
Oh God!
Tell y'all a story real quick.
We're not going down this road again, Michael. Michael, we're not going down this road again.
This isn't bad. This isn't bad. It's interesting though. That's for sure. Okay. My mother had to get out of Cleveland for various reasons. So she left me and my brother with my grandmother and just left. And then eventually came back and got us. And then one day she was telling the story. I think I might have asked, how did we wind up in Atlanta? Mm-hmm. She said, I just jumped in the car and started driving south. Okay. And she said, I knew nothing about Atlanta, but I stopped and was like, okay, this is a cool place to stay. And that was it. And then she said, and then I saw snow. She was like, if I had known that it snowed in Atlanta ever, I would have kept driving and we'd have been in Florida. Mm. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way she's always been, the way that she thinks. It's just like, okay.
And your mother's a Pisces? Wow, that's kind of odd.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, Pisces, as I like to refer to it as Gemini light, no disrespect.
Well, she's a Gemini, right?
Well, woman's a Gemini.
But she's a Gemini, right?
I told her last week that she is the sanest Gemini I've ever known. I think she's hiding some stuff. She just knows how to like push that stuff in the closet or something.
Something. Because
I live with 2 Pisces. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And like I said, my kids, I told him, I was like, my kids will tell you I'm crazy. My daughter told me yesterday, she's like, Mom, those faces you make, you look insane. I'm like, whatever keeps your ass in check is what you're going to do.
Everybody thinks their mother's insane. No, I think that's the law. Yeah. But yeah, people that young shouldn't be getting married.
Not at all.
Back in the day, it was like a thing because I guess their parents were getting married at like 15 and 16 and living until like together for like 80 years. But that was a different time. They were sharecropping. They didn't have any choice but to stay together.
Chick didn't have no skills, right? Yeah. She ain't had no money. Mm-hmm. Only way she was gonna be able to take care of them 5 children was to stay with dude. So yeah.
Let's start. Okay. So, woman, how long have you been divorced?
So it'll be 7 years. 7 years. Almost 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Boy, time flies. I was thinking it was like 3 years.
No comment. I was thinking like that too.
Seriously?
Yeah. That like
you said recent. I was like, he don't really realize how long it's been.
That messes up my whole line of the rest of the questioning. But with that said, So, okay, 7 years. So it's like from the time of the divorce to the divorce is final.
Mhm.
What is the next step? Do you start thinking about dating then? Is it one of those deals where I just need time for myself? Or what was the next step?
Yes, I needed time to myself because it's absolutely, but the reason for me, and I can't speak for everybody because speaking to some women, different ages or what have you, some women feel that they need to be right into another relationship and another marriage. Then they get divorced and they get another marriage,
Mhm.
divorce and another marriage. Well, being by yourself and try to figure out, okay, it takes two people, and I have been cussed out when I say this, but it takes two people to get divorced, right?
True.
It's not on one person.
True.
Okay. Now, my situation, everybody could have said, you should have did that. I'm like, yeah, well, that I didn't go to the left as far as, what friends thought I should have done or expected me to do. But in terms of me getting through this, I had to figure out at 22, you don't know much about being a wife or what have you. And I started looking back through everything and seeing things that I should have done or, could have done, regardless of how the divorce or how the marriage ended. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because if I wanted to be married again, right, I needed to know that I can be a good wife.
Mhm.
But first, I had to be good to myself.
That I was gonna get
That's my
there.
whole thing.
That's the first thing.
I can't give anything to anybody if I got nothing. And I was completely empty. I
Mhm.
mean, all jokes aside, dude, I was fucked up in the head. So I had to get it together. So I did my counseling. And I know you guys have talked about God or what have you, but that's truly how I got through. Jesus.
Reggie doesn't believe in God.
Whatever.
I did.
However, that's where I had to go, in order for me to step through this whole thing. So yeah, and I really, this is the funny thing. I mean, with Corona, as it shut down everything last year, because I literally found myself being busy all the time.
Mm.
And just kind of just staying in that space of just not being still. So when
Mhm.
Corona came, I was like, ooh, you know what? I
Mhm.
actually enjoy being at home. I actually enjoy being out by myself or,
Being alone.
right.
Yes.
So
Okay.
now I'm even though it's way past the divorce, I'm getting to that place where I'm like, you know what? I think I'm in a good place and maybe I'll start dating.
Okay.
I don't know.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. You,
I don't know.
you made reference to Corona.
Mhm.
Corona was last year.
Yeah.
So that means you had been divorced for like 6 years at
Yep.
that point.
Yep.
So you're telling me that it has taken you all 6 of those years to just like feel good about being alone?
Not necessarily just about feeling good about being alone. I had to go through stages. Like, for example, well, first of all, everybody has heard that, and maybe you have, that divorce is like a death, right?
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
there was even a time I thought that maybe I could have handled his death better than a divorce.
I can understand that thought.
Seriously.
Actually, no. Actually, I understand that because
And he laughs because this is his best friend.
as
But
I mean, trust me, the best friend gonna come and probably shoot me later when I say this. But I could understand that because when someone dies, they're no longer there.
well, not only that, there's a closure.
Yes, exactly. There's
There's
a closure.
a closure.
Yeah, the
Yes.
casket.
Class gone. Yes.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I was. That's
but with a
exactly what.
divorce, you got questions,
You still have questions.
right? I still had questions, and there were questions that he couldn't answer. You know,
Hmm.
there were some things he could, but there were many things that he couldn't
Hmm.
that I had to find out on my own because it was, my internal whatever I had to figure out. So it wasn't about just being alone. I had to go through stages. I had to, feel comfortable about, as he moved on in his life. Because we
Hmm.
have kids. We're going to be around each other,
Hmm.
forever,
Right, forever.
in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So when he moves on, I got to be comfortable with that. And, I got to be it's not about me pushing myself to be something I'm not. Was I really good with it? And I I had to go through that. So I have dated, in that 6 years.
Oh, we're coming to that.
I know you are.
Yeah. Yeah. It might not be on this episode, but we are definitely going to cover that because that is part of the thing. I guess my whole thing, and we have like 3.5 minutes left in this one. My whole thing is, this might sound cruel, but feel me on this one. I'm just kind of curious as to why it took 6 years. Now, with that said, that's an answer that you probably don't know. I mean,
actually, she kind of said it. She kind of said it. She kind of said because she kept us so busy.
Yeah. But I'm saying that I've dated women who've been married, who've been divorced 2 years, been divorced 3 years, been divorced 6 years. Just seems like a long time to wait to get back on the streets. But I guess
okay.
I guess it means that you are better prepared for what's out here in the streets.
We'll talk about that.
So I guess as we're wrapping up though, this particular episode, and then we'll get into the rest of it later. Was part of the 6-year hiatus or whatever, was it like okay, I'm working on myself, but there's also a fear of what's out there? Was it just like a procrastination, like I don't even want to deal with that, I'll deal with it tomorrow, or something else?
It was me. I wasn't necessarily fearful about going out there to date. Like I said, I did date, but I wasn't in a good mind space, which is the reason why the dates or the people that I drew weren't very, good. That's just.
Because I just want to bring up something you said, COVID, because a friend of mine is going through a similar situation. And it was like she was married, 2 kids. Well, they haven't got divorced yet, 2 kids. And she just filled her plate with a whole bunch of stuff. And with COVID hit, and it forced you to be still and make peace with yourself because you could no longer hide and distract. She was like, oh, I never thought I could actually be alone without being sad.
Yeah,
and I was like,
people in a place where they needed to sit down and look in the mirror and like, wow.
Yes.
Y'all made me sad. We have a minute left on this. Thank you, woman.
You're welcome.
Oh, and like I said, we're not done with women. We're going to get into all of her business because I definitely want to know about these cats that she was dating during this period.
Oh boy. The choir mind want to know.
I'd like to forget, actually.
Oh, that's all right. It'll be here forever.
All right.
We'll also be getting into women today and what woman is looking for, what woman wants. How does women feel about the streets now? Yeah, but that gives you all incentive. That is known as a tease. So come back to datingwhileadulting.com, Dating While Adulting, the podcast. Reggie, you have anything else to say in the next 22 seconds?
Negative.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Mom. Love you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Reggie, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.